What's up, everybody? It's time to talk about some chimeras. I mean, chimeras. It's just funny to say chimeras. I don't know. Someone did that in Saturday morning. Someone said, like, I want chimeras. I was like, what is a chimera? You want a chimera? Okay. Chimeras. So we're going to talk about the chimeras. We're going to talk about how you ruin them, where to use them, some of my favorite monsters. I really want one. It's a good idea to do a video about these guys, considering this is going to be my next monster that I'm going to summon. Come to us, right? Let's give you the next one. Chimera. Anyone, any flavor. I'm fine with any flavor. They're all good. I like them all. Anyway. So let's talk about where to use them, how to ruin them. These lovely boys. The first, I assume that they're boys. They're very hairy. They've got to be boys. They've got beards. They've got to be boys, right? That would be so weird if you, like, they're girls. You lift up the loin. We don't need to go into that. Anyway, let's check out their skills. Rakan HP based monster, 11,000 base HP. Low speed though, unfortunately. What's his awakening? Increases accuracy by 25%. Okay. Yeah, it would be. You know what's? It would be nicer if that was. I mean, accuracy's not bad. Don't get me wrong. He needs accuracy for his first skill. It's 1 dot, but it doesn't matter. And his third skill, the provoke. But the accuracy's not horrible. I just, you know, the Rakan owners are like, I wish it was crit rate or speed. Would have been great. But I don't think they're too bummed out after all the buffs Rakan's gotten in the past, like, year. So we got trample pins down the enemy, inflicts continuous damage for 1 turn. Not really an exciting first skill, based on the attack power. Unleashed Fury gains increased attack power and immunity against harmful effects for 3 turns. Instantly recovers a turn when used. This is really nice. This goes down to 3 turns when it's maxed. So you have constant immunity up all the time, which is always really cool to use. Something that has like monsters that's just constant immunity, constant attack buff is really nice. Really nice. Collapse the earth to inflict damage that increases according to your max HP and provokes the enemy for 1 turn. If the skill's on cooldown, you have a 30% chance to attack the attacker with the collapse skill when attacked. So, third skill, so ridiculous, so amazing. Third skill is also kind of a passive if it's on cooldown. Not a passive, really, technically, but think of it kind of as a passive because it's got that revenge. He's kind of passively revenges. It's kind of a passive because he passively revenges when it's on cooldown. Really cool. You Zyros him and then he's just going to keep revenging you. Really awesome. The leader skill increases HP of ally monsters with fire attribute by 50%, which is everywhere. It's globally. And first off, anti-Lucian for arena defense. Not a bad arena defense leader skill. And it helps him out because he's an HP-based monster. He's got an HP-based leader skill. His damage for his third skill is based on HP. Fantastic monster. After the buffs, he's been so crazy to use. This guy is very much anti-Lucian and anti-most wind monsters. HP-based, huge damage. I mean, this guy can nuke. This guy can just one-shot things. I've seen him one-shot things that have one-shot wind monsters that have a defense buff on them. It's just ridiculous. And if you have a defense break, forget about it. He just one-shots anything. So it's ridiculous. And provoke, just in case you don't one-shot it, you provoke it anyway. And this is a revenge. He revenges with the third skill. How crazy is that he does that? Just imagine Lucian, you know, someone doing damage to Lucian, he revenges AoE amputation magic. That's just so crazy to think about. Like, revenges. Okay. So farming, yes, great for farming. Absolutely. Giant speed 10, not really so much for giant speed 10. No, I think he could still be in a giant speed 10 team. He's a tanky fire monster. I just don't see that as being the best unit for a giant speed 10 team. Giant speed 9 is great. Probably a vampire Rakan could solo giant speed 9. I bet. He's got immunity, and he's got, you know, the vampiriness. Could probably solo it. Probably solo giant speed 9. Dragons, I've seen Aspire, one of the members of Epic Fail Guild. He's got a Rakan that can solo Dragons B10 actually. So I'm sure you can. If I remember, I'll link it in the description below. But he's got a Rakan that can solo Dragons B10. It's a vampire build, but it's really crazy. So yes, he can solo Dragons B10. Immunity, guys, immunity. No dots, no cooldown from the Zyros at the middle. No defense breaks from the crystals. So yeah. Necropolis, not really great for Necropolis though. Not really great. He loses value when you get to the boss. You maybe could put him in a Necropolis team, but if he gets stolen, then it's gonna be a pain. It's really not my first choice for Necropolis. Elemental dungeons, yeah, you could use him in elemental dungeons. I mean, he's kind of a monster that he's all built into one thing. He's kind of compacted. He does a lot for himself. He doesn't do a lot of team stuff. He doesn't do a lot of things against AoEs, against big area of effect things. He doesn't buff any of his team, so he's kind of like a single monster that focuses on himself instead of a team player. You know, there's a lot of monsters that are team players. Like Praha's a team player. She does things AoE. She does the AoE heal. She does the AoE strip. But Rakan's just single target. Solos, he buffs himself, and he does damage single target. Secret dungeons, no, not for secret dungeons, absolutely not. 3-team Rift of World raids. I don't think he'd be that bad. I never see Rakan in raids, but I don't think he'd be that bad. I think you put him in a raid team. Elemental Rift beasts. Yeah, I think you could put Rakan in some Elemental Rift beasts. Not the #1 choice, but you know, you kind of want things with defense break and brand. But you could put I think you could put him in some. It's not really like the optimal choice. Trial of Ascension, not really the optimal choice for Trial of Ascension. He only does things for himself. Arena, fantastic for Arena monster, fantastic for Guild Wars, fantastic for Live Arena. Such a great monster, like I said, because he benefits himself most. So in Trial of Ascension, we got 5-on-5. He really loses value when there's that many monsters that he's fighting with and fighting against. That's why I'm saying not as much for TOA. And not as much for like the Rift of World raids, because he doesn't do any debuffs. He's got the provoke and he's got the dots. As far as the raids, that's really not going to help anything. And then he's got no team. He's got like himself as a buff, but he really doesn't have a lot of. He doesn't help the team out at all. So that's why I'm saying really for raids. I think he could be used, but really there's better stuff for that spot. And then we said Arena, fantastic for Arena, a great Arena monster. He's been in Arena defense so much lately. He's anti-Lucian, he's anti-Zyros. He's a really, really solid monster. Guild Wars, absolutely. Like I said again, the less monsters, like if he's one-on-one versus something, the very high chance that he's gonna win it. Very, very high. So the less monsters, the better. Like I said, a Live Arena, he's got his own immunity, so really nice. He's a tanky monster that can survive a while. So let's talk about what runes can be used on him. We got Fatal, we got Swift, we got Despair, not Despair. Violent could be okay, Rage could be okay, but I think the #1 build right now is Vampire. Vampire Will is really nice. You don't need to do the Revenge so much because he already revenges on his passive. I would say Vampire Will is right now the #1 build for Rakan that people are using. Numero uno. I mean, you could do Violent, you could do Rage, you could do Swift. I mean, these are all things that you could do. I really wouldn't go Fatal. He does damage based on his first skill is based on attack, but his third skill is based on max HP. So you want to go HP, crit damage, HP. That's the stats. You want to go HP, crit damage, HP with high HP, high crit rate, high crit damage. Good resistance and accuracy, doesn't hurt. You also want to get speed. I wouldn't do speed on 2. I've seen some people that do speed on 2, but I've seen some people that do like I think Vampire Will with. I've also seen some Swift Blade Rakans with speed on 2, like trying to be really, really fast. But I'm not sure that that's the best build. I think the HP, crit damage, HP with speed subs, with crit rate subs, crit damage subs, and all over tankiness, just the best value subs that you can get is probably the best rune build for him. Just a tanky, crazy tanky bruiser. You can do a ton of damage, and you can also take a ton of hits too before he dies. Destroy isn't bad. Nemesis, if he's Vampire Nemesis, is not bad. Shield, he's got good base HP. That's not bad either. Guard, if you've got the right stats on it. Focus, he really doesn't need focus. He already gets increased accuracy. Oh, sorry. He gets increased accuracy with his awakening, and you really don't need a ton of accuracy for him, so I really wouldn't go focus. Blade, if you've got HP crit damage HP, Blade is not bad either. Energy is not bad for him, but optimally Vampire will. Late game build, I mean. Alright, actually we're gonna switch to Xerato next, actually. Because Xerato, I think, is the closest to Rakan. It doesn't make sense, maybe, at first, but I think he's the closest to Rakan. The reason being is that I think that the other ones all are speed is very important on the water, wind, and light ones. So these two, the other ones have the squall skill, right? So these two have the Unleashed Fury skill. The others have the Squall for the second skill. So let's talk about Xerato. Xerato used to have so much hype. Everyone's like, oh, Xerato, best monster in the game, Xerato, oh my god, the best monster ever. He's got the same first and second skills. His third skill, Forbidden Power passive, inflicts up to 2 extra attacks with 50% of the damage if you get a critical hit. And 2 extra attacks are based on the trample, so that means that he's based on his attack power, and he buffs his own attack power as well. Also, he's got this leader skill as well. Of the Dark. They all have 50% of their respective elements for the leader skills. So this guy is saying, hey man, I do my damage based on my attack power, based on my first skill, based on my attack power, so I want to be attack, crit, damage, attack. But we need to make sure that he has very high crit rate, because if he doesn't crit, he's kind of, not useless, but he loses like so much of his power if he does not crit. There's a few fun builds for him. Generally speaking, the build is attack, crit, damage, attack with almost maxed crit rate. What is this? Increases resistance by 25%. Man, if he got crit rate, if he got the crit rate bonus when he was awakened, that would be even better. Let's see, farming, great for farming, great for giants. He's element neutral, so he's great for giants. He's great for dragons. This guy, yeah, he does the dots too, but he does big damage as well, and he does multi-hits, multi-dots. I mean, multi-dots are great for any elemental dungeons too. Anything in Kyra's dungeon. He's a dot monster that does big damage even without the dots. His base HP is not that bad either. Let's see. Necropolis, actually, this is one of the ones that Necropolis he's actually not bad for, because with his passive, he attacks multiple times and does dots. He's actually pretty good for Necropolis. Pretty damn good for Necropolis. Secret Dungeons, no, he doesn't have any AoEs. 3-team Rift of World Raids, he doesn't do... he may be a backline damage dealer. He's not bad for that. He does a bunch of attacks, but I don't see anyone using Xerato in R5. I know a couple people that have him. They've never used him in R5. Maybe they just didn't try. I don't know. I'm sure they tried Xerato. But he doesn't do dots because it's raids, right? So he's got nothing to benefit the team. He just works with himself. He just buffs himself. He doesn't do any other debuffs. So that's why really not so much for raids. Elemental Rift Beasts, yes, he could be good for some of the Elemental Rift Beasts. Good for the Dark One, I think he can still be good for the Light One. I haven't tried him and the Light One, but he still does so much damage that even though he's multi-hitting, I think it should still be fine. What else? He's a damage dealing monster, which is really nice. And he buffs his own attack power. So definitely for the Elemental Rift Beast. Even though he doesn't have a defense break, you still gotta get the defense break in there as well. Trial of Ascension, not really. I wouldn't do him for Trial of Ascension. You can, but he doesn't have, like I said, the same as the other one, he doesn't have any AoE. Some of the Chimeras are pretty good for Trial of Ascension, but Xerato, he's got no AoEs. He doesn't benefit the team. He's not really too much of a team player. He doesn't benefit the team. He doesn't do any AoE damage or anything. And then Arena, fantastic for Arena, both offense and defense. I've seen some good defensive Xerato teams as well. Basically use them in the same place as they would use a Theomars. Guild Wars, also there's some hybrid builds that I think are fun for Arena. Guild Wars, yes, I've seen some fun times with Xerato in Guild Wars. Again, some hybrid builds sometimes. And Live Arena. Live Arena, I think he loses a little bit of the pizzazz because you can kind of control Xerato. He does have still that maybe you use him for a hybrid build in Live Arena, but I think he loses. He's not as good. I think Rakan is still a better pick for Live Arena than Xerato is, though, honestly. But he does still have the immunity, which is nice. He is element neutral damage dealer, which is nice. He's not the worst Live Arena pick, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he's bad for Live Arena. I'm just saying, like, Rakan is a little bit better for Live Arena. But he's not bad at all. He's not bad at all for Live Arena. But I think Arena Guild Wars, he's awesome. Awesome. And I've seen some really crazy fast Giants and Dragons themes for him as well. And he can do Necropolis. He can do Necropolis. So 4 sets. Fatal, maybe early game, yeah. Swift. The other Chimeras get a little bit more benefit out of being Swift. Despair, no, he doesn't have AoE damage, so really Despair isn't too crazy on him. Violent, he's insane. Violent, I've seen some insane nonsense where he just wipes out entire teams on Violent. Violent is crazy. Rage, you can put him on Rage too. Attack or damage attack, you still put him on Rage. Vampire, I think you could still make a viable Vampire build for Xerato. 2 sets. Energy, Blade, of course he needs the crit. He needs the crit. Focus to get those dots on, not really so much. Guard, not really so much for Xerato. Endure, not really so much. He gets resistance also when he's awakened. He doesn't really need endure. I mean, resistance isn't the #1 stat that I would put on him necessarily, but shield, he's got over 10,000 base hit points, so shield is not bad on him. Will is pretty fun on him. Will for PvP, definitely. Revenge, actually Nemesis and Destroy. Destroy is pretty good on him too. Destroying some max HP, that's not that bad. Nemesis, depending on if you put him on Violent Nemesis could be a fun one. But I think Revenge is really crazy. I've seen a hybrid, I think it was attack, crit damage, HP, Xerato, where he was on Violent Revenge. Sometimes even on full. Sometimes like the ones that'll trick you is they'll have a ton of HP, right? They'll stack a crazy amount of HP and they'll put Revenge on, and they'll make sure their crit rate is really, really high. And then you keep trying to kill Xerato because you think you're gonna one-shot him, and he keeps revenging you and doing 3 hits every time he revenges, and it's just insane. And you're like, I can't. He just keeps revenging me and killing everything every time he revenges, and I can't kill him because he's got like 30,000 plus HP. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Pretty crazy, some of the super tanky Xerato builds that are out there. Because you think that they're going to be built for attack because he's an attacker, but they're really tanky with revenge. So that's actually some pretty fun stuff. Alright. Then let's go on to, I think we talked about everything for Xerato. I talked about, yeah, but I think definitely if you need to put crit rate on slot 4, if you're early game, you need to put crit rate on slot 4 to make the most out of Xerato. If you happen to get lucky enough to have him, we're not going to do 20 minutes, damn it. Let's try to still do 30 minutes. 30 minutes is the new goal. At least it's faster than an hour. But if you have to do crit rate for Xerato for slot 4, then go for it. Just to make sure it's high enough, man. You don't want 50% crit rate on Xerato. You need as close to 100 as humanly possible for him, right? Because he only buffs his attack power. But you want to make sure you are getting the most out of that passive. If you don't crit, he's half a monster that he could be. So that's important. Now Tower. Oh my god. What a lovely monster. Oh, I would love him. Oh, Tower. Oh my goodness. Alright. So Tower's got the first skill, Trample. Second skill, different from the other two. So that's why I kind of broke it up differently. These 3 have Squall, the water, wind, and light ones. Faster attack speed, the greater the damage becomes. Attack speed is increased for 2 turns if you get a critical hit. So, you want good crit rate, and you want good attack speed, because this is based on attack speed. Too bad he doesn't get attack speed when he's awakened. He gets crit rate! Beautiful! Why couldn't you be on Xerato too? Xerato too. So we see we want good crit. We want crit related things, crit rate, crit damage, and we want speed. So we already know kind of what's 2 and 4 should be. Is based on this, we see 2 should be speed, 4 should be crit rate, crit damage. Not crit rate, crit damage though. Crit damage. 'Cause this way you get the most out of it. This is based on attack. And this is based on speed, so crit damage is going to be the best for both of them. And then the Crush attacks the enemy, freezes the target for 1 turn. Additionally, this attack will attack all other enemies, dealing half the damage of the initial attack, decreases their attack speed for 3 turns. Freeze first target, speed break on everyone else. Okay, so farming, great for farming, amazing for farming. AoE plus He's got his own leader skill and everything. Giants, he's fantastic for giants. Dragons, he's fantastic for dragons. The dots, the slow, which is really nice for the towers on the towers. For the towers on the left and the right of the giants and dragons. Really does help to make your giants and dragons teams a little bit more reliable. Fantastic monster for both of those. Necropolis, not really so much. He doesn't have multi-hit skills. He's got the speed break, which is nice, but it's really not the speed break, because I know you're like, but he's got a speed break. He needs multi-hit skills, and I would say speed break on the first skill would be what you're looking for Necropolis. Elemental dungeons, yes, he's got the dots, he's got the AoE speed break. Secret dungeons, he's got AoE, so yes, he could still be good for secret dungeons as well. 3-team Rift of World raids, not really so much. He's got the speed. He's not gonna speed break though. He could be a damage dealer. As a damage dealer, but purely for damage dealing. And then the problem with that for raids is that he's gonna get his attack power nerfed and his attack speed nerfed, and he's just gonna be, well, nerfed. He's gonna get them attack speed broken, attack power broken. He's not gonna do as much damage as he could. So gotta watch out for that. He's not the best, but he's not the worst at raids. He could be useful, especially for the lower level ones. He just doesn't do very many debuffs, and he doesn't do like any team-based anythings for your team. So he's just there. He's just there for damage and nothing else. He's just there for single target damage. Elemental Rift Beasts. Yeah, he's very good actually for Elemental Rift Beasts. Very, very good for them. For fire, for light, for like all of them really. For like, he just does so much single target damage that he's really good for all of them. I'm trying to think of what he's not good for. Maybe wind, okay. But he's really good for the rest of them. Let's see. Very, very, very highly rated for Elemental Rift Beasts. Trial of Ascension, yes, he's got the AoE slow. He's got the single target freeze. He's actually pretty good for Trial of Ascension. Arena, he's fantastic for Arena for offense. For defense, if you're going for like a speed nuke thing, then yes. Guild Wars, yes, for offense. He's more for offense than for defense, because he can be countered on defense. Especially he can be outsped and Lucian pretty easily. And then for Live Arena, he could be good for Live Arena. He could be good. I've never seen really too many hybrid towers though. Towers. I've never seen too many hybrid water chimeras though. So let's talk about the runes for him. Fatal is good. You could do Fatal for him, since he's based on, he does damage. 2 skills based on attack power, so you could do Fatal, Speed. I think the optimally Speed, crit damage, attack, and whatever runes you have the best Speed, crit damage, attack for. But Fatal is great for him. Swift is great for him. Again, based on attack speed, so you want to make sure he's fast. Swift benefits his second skill more. Fatal benefits his first and third skill more. Despair, he's got an AoE. You could go Despair on him. I think Osiris actually has Despair on her tower. Speed, crit damage, attack. Violent, you can definitely go Violent on him. Speed, crit. The Violent is good on almost anyone anyway, though. Violent is like, when in doubt, use Violent, right? You can't go wrong. Most of the time. Some monsters don't really make sense on Violent, though. Like when I say some monsters don't make sense on Violent, like monsters that'll take their shield, like have a passive shield and will take it off by Violent proccing. Or monsters like Kamoon, where Swift is actually better than Violent. Because Violent is just, what are you gonna do? Put the shield on the same guy twice? It's really no point. You do, damage multiple times, but... then Rage. Rage works great too. Speed, crit damage, attack. Again, Vampire. You could do Vampire as well. 2 sets. Energy, not my favorite. Blade. Yeah, you can do Blade. You can do Focus. Would be the optimal ones. Guard, Endure, Energy. Not really, so I'm not really too excited about them as well. Shield, not really too excited about that. Will, you can do Will. Definitely, if you're depending on the team, if you're doing for PvP, a lot of people like to use Tower for PvP. Will is great for him. Revenge, not really so. I think if he starts getting hit, he's gonna die, because he's basically a squishy, not super squishy, like not that he's got as low HP as Tishar does, but Tishar's got like 2,000 lower HP. But he's gonna die to an amputation magic. I wouldn't put Revenge on him. You can put Destroy on him, though. You can put Destroy, Blade, Focus, Will are the ones that I would maybe go for on him. And then either Fatal Swift. Despair's not bad. Fatal Swift, Rage, Violent, all good on him. But like I said, Despair's not bad. Vampire is not bad either. If you're gonna make him a farmer, though. Cool. Talked about tower. Speed crit damage attack. Speed crit damage attack, and speed subs, crit damage subs, crit rate subs, attack subs, overall value subs, accuracy subs are not bad either. Because remember, we got that. We got a lot of debuffs. We got the dots too. We have Legmarn. Legmarn is actually pretty similar to the tower. He's got the trample. He's got the squall. Same thing. His base HP is much better though. Much better. Look at that, 2,000, not 2,000, sorry. It's like 1,500 plus more base HP. Which means if you, every little HP sub you stack on there, percentage sub, is actually gonna stack more HP. More HPs. Then speed is 110 because he gets speed when he's awakened. Really nice to help his squall out. So that gives him a little buff there. And then we have the lightning strike. Attacks all enemies to weaken their attack power for 2 turns and stuns them for 1 turn with a 75% chance. Does this go up to 100? It goes up pretty far, but this is a pretty reliable AoE stun, actually. Weakens attack power and stuns as well. Really nice monster. And then we've got the HP leader skill, of course. Like I said, everyone's got the HP leader skill 50% for their respective attribute. It really helps the dark and the fire ones, I think, more. Because if you build a fire one for HP, of course, that helps because he scales based on HP. The dark one, Zeratu, you can build him as a hybrid with the Revenge, and that actually helps. I've seen people do that and have been very successful in their arena defenses because no one expects him to be a tank. A tank that can deal damage, is what I mean. But the Lagmaron, I think he still gets kind of nuked pretty easy. Because you really don't build him to stack HP, though. So you could build him a little bit weird and use him for crowd control and do like speed HP. I wouldn't recommend it, but you could do it. You could if you needed to, but I would still go speed crit damage attack though. The same as tower. I would still go speed crit damage attack, but he does have pretty nice base HP. Is what I was trying to say. Especially when you compare Lagmaron to Tashar, who's got like 7,000 base HP. Let's go see Tashar for a second. Tashar's, because they're kind of in the same boat. They do big damage second skills, but 7,410 base HP compared to 11,575 base HP. So anyway, let's see. Farming, great. Giants, great. Dragons, not so much. Necropolis, not really, no. Elemental dungeons, yes, he would. When I say elemental dungeons, I mean like Hall of Magic, Fire, Water, whatever. He'd be good for those. He's got the dots for his skill. He's got the AoE stuns, which is good for the monsters on the way to the boss as well. Doesn't help as much on the boss with the towers as the Water Chimera does because he doesn't have the speed break for the left and the right towers. Secret dungeons, yes, he's got the AoE. 3-team Rift of World raids. He's got the stun, which doesn't work. He's got the continuous damage, which doesn't work. It's the same thing as before. And then he's got the squall, which is he's just there for just damage. Just raw damage. But there's better stuff. He's good. He's not bad, don't get me wrong. But there's stuff that also will do debuffs as well. So things like Xiaolin are definitely going to be better because Xiaolin does the defense break, she does the speed buff, and she does damage based on how many debuffs are on the enemy too. So he actually gets outclassed by some, not him specifically, but some of these monsters that just do damage get outclassed by some of the monsters that do debuffs as well on Rift of World raids. Elemental Rift Beasts, some of them he does really awesome on. Some of them because he just does big single target damage, so he's actually really good against the Elemental Rift Beasts as well. Trial of Ascension, we mentioned that, he's really great for Trial of Ascension. He's got the AoE stun, which is huge for Trial of Ascension. Arena, great for arena offense, not really so much for arena defense unless you're going for a speed nuke team, but you really don't see him in high level arena defense. You never see Lagmaron, ever. Never see Lagmaron. Or tower, actually, to be honest. You see a lot of Rakans, you see some Zeratus if they have him, but you really don't ever see Lagmaron ever. So not for defense. Guild War defense, I see some people running Galleon, Bernard, Legmaron for their Guild War defense. It's good for if you're fighting against not easy guilds, but not really strong guilds that have will runes and shield runes. Because as soon as you have the will runes and shield runes, then they're really not going to do too much. Unless Legmaron could break through, if he's strong enough, he could break through with that attack buff and the speed buff from Galleon and Bernard. He could break through and doesn't even matter, especially if he's on violent speed, crit damage, attack. He could just keep hitting and just break through the shields and not even care about the will and just kill things anyway. But still, not really. More for offense than defense is what I'm trying to say. Guild Wars Live Arena, same thing with Tower for Live Arena. You could build him. I think you could build him differently though for Live Arena, because he's got that AoE stun. So I think you can use him for Live Arena, but I think I would build him totally differently. I would build him with high speed, and I would build him tankier for CC for Live Arena instead of for just nuke, because he's easy to kill if you build him as a nuker. But if you build him as an HP tank, that could throw people off. They get too worried about trying to kill you like Legmaron, thinking he's squishy, and then they could wind up being like, oh my god, this just doesn't die ever. And then especially with the leader skill being tanky for that too. I think he could trick a lot of people in Live Arena. So let's talk about the 4 sets. Basically the same as Tower. Fatal is good, Swift is good, speed, crit damage, attack. Speed for that second skill, and crit damage, attack. Crit damage just makes the most use of everything. Despair, you don't need Despair for him. He already stuns with this skill. You don't need Despair. So no for Despair. Violent is good, Rage is good, Vampire. You could do Vampire. I mean, you could, right? Basically the same thing. I'm saying the same thing. Blade, Focus is what you want to do. Will is not bad. Destroy is not bad. So, especially if you're taking him into Camila or Rena and you can't one-shot him, Destroy might help you. So, in the long term, if the fight starts taking a while. So, that is that for Legmaron. And we have really wanted to do this video faster. Damn it. Sean, last but not least. Oh, what a beautiful monster. I will take any Chimera, Comtuous. I will take any Chimera. Oh my god. Hey, a new Snoopy Cup. Look at that. Damn. What an epic Snoopy Cup. Alright, Sean. Basically the same thing as Legmaron and Tower. Third skill, Holy Calling, stuns all enemies with an 80% chance, increases the attack speed of all allies for 2 turns, increases the attack bar of all allies by 25%. This guy is most similar to Legmaron, so I'm going to say the same thing. The cool thing is he's got 2 speed buffs. 2 speed buffs, 1 AoE team speed buff. Okay, so actually could be used a little bit more than Legmaron. Just see, this is what it should be. This is what the Light Dark Nat 5 should be. He's very close to Legmaron. He's got he's got less base speed, less base HP, but this is an attack speed buff and attack gauge buff as well. So, I mean, I know you're like, oh, you could use him like in place of Bernard. Yeah, but you have to make up for not 160. You have to make up for 16 extra speed if you were going to use him like Bernard with just Swift speed on slot 2 and try to get him as fast as possible. He still has 16 base speed less than Bernard, something like Bernard anyway. So that's why I don't think he could. It would be fun though. Don't get me wrong. It's like a Bernard that will AoE stun in the same skill as Tailwind, which is crazy. But I think it's nice that this is how the Nat 5s should work. Is that they are similar to a Light Dark Nat 5s. I mean, they're similar to a regular Element Nat 5, but they're just better. Like this is okay. This is just better. He's got a little bit less base stats maybe, but this skill is just what the Nat 5 has, but a little bit better version of it. Or what the Wind 1 has, but a little bit better version of it. So farming, yes, great for farming. Great for giants, we already mentioned why. Also, like I said, Squall, speed, crit damage, attack, very important. Great for giants, great for dragons. Because at least he's, like, Legmaron isn't good for dragons, because he's, of course, a wind monster. But Sean is at least good for dragons. He's got the speed buff. Very good. You can definitely use Sean in a super speedy Dragon's team as well. Necropolis, I really wouldn't know. Not for Necropolis. Especially as he buffs the speed, but your speed is capped anyway, so... you're not getting much use out of him for Necropolis. Elemental dungeons, yes, absolutely. Secret dungeons, not really so much. He stuns though, but really there's better for secret dungeons. I would pick Tower or like Marn for secret dungeons before I pick Sean. Not saying that he's bad. I'm just saying like they'll give you just a little bit more speedier clears. 3-team Rift of World raids. He gives your team a speed buff and an attack gauge buff, but really, again, not so much these guys. There's better monsters for the raids. Elemental Rift Beasts, yes, he's got the Squall, great skill. Great skill. Trial of Ascension, yes, he's got the speed. Amazing for TOA, amazing. Stun here, attack gauge increase, attack speed increase. Amazing. He's one of the best TOA monsters. Absolutely, absolutely. For this Holy Calling skill, this is one of the best TOA skills. One of the best. One of the best TOA skills. Because it buffs its attack, it's a team buff, and it's a enemy team debuff. So TOA, yes. Arena, yes, he'd be fantastic light damage dealer that also does CC. Yes, for Arena. I think he can be used for Arena defense too. I don't see too many of him in Arena defense. Maybe that's just because not many people have him. But I think he could do wonders in Arena defense. He's kind of flexible in that you can build him. He does great damage, light damage, so you can do damage like to whoever, right? And then he's got the crowd control, and he's good for your team, bad for the enemy's team. Awesome. I think even for Arena defense, he could be good. I think maybe you try a couple different rune builds for Arena defense, see what works best for you. I think he needs a little bit more tankiness for Arena defense though. But I would say even this is one of the ones that I would say for Arena defense could be really awesome. More so than like Marn and Tower. And then we have Guild Wars. Yes, for defense and offense. You could even run him as a hybrid monster. Stack some HP on him, use him as a leader skill, and put him with some, like a Huadam and something else. You do need a defense break in there though, like maybe a Huadam and a Bella. That would be fun. That would be interesting. Actually, I think I've seen someone do that. Something similar to that. But yeah, I think you could definitely use him for a guild battle defense too. Definitely. And then what else? Live Arena, yes, but I think a hybrid build for Live Arena too. Focus more on the HP, more as a CC monster. That third skill is killer, man. AoE stun plus attack speed buff and attack gauge increase. That is killer. There is no, like, that just helps out no matter where you are. Like, if you can't stun, it's still an attack gauge increase and attack whatever. Attack bar increase. And it's, even if they have immunity, it's not useless. Alright, so how do we want to rune him? Fatal. You can rune him Fatal. Fatal, Swift, Despair. He doesn't need Despair. Violent would be awesome, especially if he's a hybrid build. I think Violent would be great. Rage. I think I would do Violent. Violent or Swift would be my first choices. Speed, crit damage, attack, unless you're gonna go hybrid. Then you could try to do HP, speed, crit damage, HP, something like that. I think you could even go more even just tanky for Live Arena and just go with tankier substats, not even worry about damage too much. Because eventually it's gonna go into where you get increased attack power and they get decreased HP, and you're eventually gonna start one-shotting everything, no matter what, even if he's a tanky build. So then we have, what is it? Violent and Swift are my favorites. Fatal and Rage are not bad. Despair, I don't think we need. Vampire, I mean, you could still do Vampire on these guys, but they're not gonna get. I think Rakan is the best on Vampire. And then 2 sets. Energy's not bad. Blade's not bad. What does he get when he's awakened? Accuracy? accuracy by 25%, which is not bad. He needs his accuracy for his third skill. Guard really wouldn't be focus. Focus and guard. I mean, he's already got the accuracy, right? You still want the accuracy subs, but if you have good focus runes, you can do focus. Endure. Shield wouldn't be horrible, especially if you're doing like a guild battle defense with shield, like a Huadam kind of thing, like I mentioned before. Shield could be fun on him. Will for PvP is definitely good. Revenge if you're doing a tanky build for him. But Revenge really, but then you're not going to do too much damage, so I wouldn't really worry about Revenge too much. Nemesis. Nemesis could be fun. Actually, Nemesis could be really nice on him. The reason that I'm going to say Nemesis could be really nice on him is if he starts taking damage, Nemesis kicks in, Holy Calling, we can, like, let's say you got him for arena defense, okay? You do the, you get Lucianed once, Nemesis triggers, he gets the next turn, does Holy Calling, stuns the rest of the team, stuns that second Lucian, and then increases the attack speed and attack gauge of all the other monsters on your team, and then they do whatever, they heal, they start nuking things, and then he could actually be a fun Nemesis trap that no one would see coming, because people are like, okay, well, I know Nemesis Ariel, I know Nemesis Praha, no one would expect a Nemesis Sean. That could be a fun thing to do if you have Sean. That could be a fun thing to do. But I mean, this is a great monster. He falls in line, like I said, there's two basic categories to these monsters. There's these ones that are the Unleashed Fury ones that buff their immunity and attack power. And then there's these ones, the Squall Chimeras, which are going to do big damage based on... And like, one is more tanky build, right? One is like the Fire and the Dark are more like, okay, attack, crit damage, attack for the Dark one, and HP, crit damage, HP for the Fire one. And then the other one's speed on 2. Speed on 2 for these guys is important because of that Squall. They need to have speed. Alright, guys, I made this like 20 minutes faster because the Galleon one the Pirate Captain one was like an hour. I'm trying to make it faster. I'm trying. We'll try to cut it down for the next one too, because I know this 40-minute video is still. I didn't even stop talking. 40 minutes, guys. Snoopy Cup. Yeah. Look at that Snoopy. All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Like I said, I want to do some more of these spotlights in quicker succession so I get them all out there, because we did a lot of old ones a couple of years ago and they're very much outdated. The information on the game is outdated, the monster skills are outdated, so some of the older ones are not really very relevant anymore. Also, it was like me in a dark room like, hey, what's up guys, I'm Chewbacca. I'm touching myself into the table. I wasn't touching myself under the table, but anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you don't already have one of these beautiful chimeras, hopefully you pull one soon. Hopefully I'll pull one soon. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I will see you as always in the next video. You dirty hoes.